Welcome to the Mind Myself podcast. I'm Esther, and it is my pleasure to be bringing you information about healthcare approaches, health issues, and people's health journey stories, all from the complementary, holistic, and integrative perspectives, helping you become your own best health advocate and helping you make your own informed choices because you matter. Welcome to the Mind Myself podcast, Conversations with E. I'm Esther, and it is my pleasure to welcome our guest today, Ambika Devi. Welcome, Ambika.
Thank you, Esther.
Fantastic. Ambika, for our listeners today, tell us a little bit about who you are and your credentials and your background.
I've gone through so many different hats and titles over time, and the one I'm using right now is Mind Tamer.
I love your title. And just a little bit about your educational background, your master's in.
My master's is in yoga and meditation. So meditation is definitely the tool for mind taming. My research has been, since I received my master's in my PhD, discoveries. I challenged myself, can I teach people to meditate so that they know that they are? Because I've noticed over time, most people find their way in or explore many ways in, and they either think they can't do it, they're not doing it right, they're not sure if they're doing it right, or maybe they trip into it. I think the best thing to understand is there are different ways in, but there's only one state of being. So meditation is a state of being.
Fantastic. And that's what we're talking about today. Meditation, creative visualization, and mindfulness. So maybe you could take a few moments and tell us, is there a difference? If there is, what is it? And if there isn't, then let's just talk about that for a bit.
A lot of people think of meditation as a destination. You can sort of think of it that way because it is a state of being, and we arrive into states of being. Are you super happy right now? Then you're in that state of being. Ever get ticked off? Then you instantly moved in to quite the opposite state of being, right? So meditation potentially, if the mind and the physical body can go from really happy to really unhappy or angry or frightened or excited, we can move really quickly. So of course, it's logical that we can move really quickly into the state of meditation. And meditation is often thought of as a focus. Focus can be used as a tool to get you there. But if you're paying attention to something, you're not necessarily in the state of meditation. Could you be? You can be. So there's a little bit of gray area that I need to demystify here. So mindfulness would be focusing on something positive, right? This can get you into a state of meditation. Another thing we have to back up first and understand is that meditation doesn't necessarily have to be seated on a cushion. That is, of course, how many of us meditate. Because in the Vedas, which are where the directions, and there's also directions in the Bhagavad Gita of how to meditate. The absolute description of this has been written down. But when we read words, we don't always understand, am I doing it right? Or, why am I not feeling anything? I always, if you've seen the play or heard the music from a chorus line, there's a song about one of the drama classes where they have to imagine they're on a toboggan. And one student says, I feel the wind. Another, I taste the snowflakes. And the song is, I feel nothing. And that reminds me of my early teaching in meditation, where people were like, I don't think I'm there yet. Or when I was teaching a lot, leading a lot of guided meditation, which is creative visualization, that's one of the things we talked about, that people would fall asleep. So meditation launch points could be sports, walking, cleaning, dancing. Why do you think we like these things?
Totally. I know. Totally. I know for me, I find my way into meditation. I'm still learning about meditation, but I find my way in through movement. And once I've moved my body some, that's when I can actually become still. Whereas if I don't take that time in my body, it's really hard for me to get still and not have a monkey mind, as some people say. Can
Yes,
you comment on that?
on the monkey mind, I'd like to comment on that. Was a very small version of the actual quote from Swami Vivekananda. The Vivekananda University is the university that mothered my American-based university where I got my master's degree, which was Hindu University. I know it's a Hindu, but it's not religious for me. Okay, just need to clarify that. But Swami Vivekananda said, the mind is like a drunk monkey that has been stung by a scorpion. If you want to pacify the monkey, give it a banana. And that was a metaphor for a tool. So for you, it's movement dance. For some, it's yoga, physical yoga classes, because at the end of yoga class, everybody lies their body down flat in a posture face up, if it's available to them, which is called shavasana. Asana is what the postures are. It's the secondary part of the word. Asana means to find your seat, to find where you can meditate. Aha. And so shavasana is translated into English corpse pose. You don't have your hands folded or in prayer on your chest. You're actually spread out a bit, arms out, legs out, toes dropped out, head and neck relaxed, bolstered if you need it, and you rest for hopefully 7 minutes. The reason why I stopped teaching physical yoga classes years ago was because the places wanted less and less relaxed time, or I would get called out for doing pranayama, which is essential. They wanted such short classes. A yoga class takes about 90 minutes if you do it with all the parts. You have to do some pranayama. You have to do a little bit of abdominal exercises to get your body moving and to stimulate digestion so you don't do it on a full stomach. Then you do asanas to loosen up your body, your hips. One of the famous yogis who has a whole school called Iyengar, his name is Iyengar. He was quoted to say, open hips, open mind. What a beautiful thing. So then you loosen your body up, but you could do it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can easily get into it. Cooking, cleaning, walking, sitting, gazing at something you can do. But once you enter the state of meditation, there are 5 symptoms.
Okay, so tell us about those 5 symptoms.
The 5 symptoms of the meditative state. You don't know where you are. You don't know what daytime it is. You don't know your name. If I asked you, you don't even know if you have a gender. And you don't know that you are.
Well, by those symptoms, not sure if I could actually say I've ever meditated. That's definitely something to aspire to.
You've been there. You have been there, Esther. I want to stop you and say you have been there. You just maybe haven't maintained it and stretched it out. Now, years and years ago, I was trained in hypnotherapy. I was part of the National Guild here in the US. And I studied with one of Erickson's proteges. That's one of the forerunners of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And what I learned then was that the brain waves are all firing, but we can actually kind of latch on and pulls somebody into the state of hypnosis when we see certain clues on them physically, when we notice things in their breathing, in their body state, if they relax. So, what a seasoned or more seasoned or slightly more advanced meditator will do is notice the spot, and also when things float across the mind, choose not to react to them and have methods and tools to just blow them up, annihilate them. It could be breath, could be sound. What I'm noticing is using the sound of your own voice along with your breath is the most powerful.
That's a great suggestion. So for somebody new to meditation who might be listening to this going, wow, sounds fairly complicated, what's some simple way that somebody could start to do this? And I know you're going to give some resources to us that we will include in the information here, but how can someone start to meditate?
Well, you have to decide what your launch point is. Do you want to use the original directions? Sit up as straight as you can, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. The place that I like to add on focus on your breath is if you notice the breath coming in and out the nostrils, it's a little bit warmer on the exhale. It's a little bit cooler on the inhalation. And as your attention starts to come to one of those places of you start noticing who you are, or what your gender is, or what day it is, or where you are, or you start thinking that you are, then you can focus back on the breath. So we look at people that sit like mountains. Maybe it's in a kung fu movie, or we've watched documentaries about Tibetan monks, and we think, how can they do this? They look like mountains, don't they? They just look like mountains, like still mountains, and they look so peaceful. And that's years and years, lifetimes and lifetimes of practice. And it's foolish of us to think they never get dragged off. What happens is they don't keep reacting to it. So meditation puts us in a witness state. It draws us back. We don't shut everything out. If we could, we wouldn't be human.
Right. Yeah.
But what we learn how to do is to quickly identify a reaction and choose not to react, and be able to successfully not react. And that's where all these other tools come in handy.
Oh, I like that. Just starting simply, and the idea of reacting and letting go of that. That's very cool. So you mentioned Iyengar. What are some of the other types of meditation that people might have heard of or that we should mention now?
Oh, well, Iyengar is a famous yoga teacher. True yoga, remember, true yoga is definitely for meditation. Exercise is one of the leaves on a giant tree. Leaves, not even a branch. Okay. The asana, the postures are one of the spokes, if we say an 8-spoke wheel, but there's so many other things. Yoga is considered a science of life, so it has so many other things in it, including its sisters of helping to nourish and develop body and the physical space, because everybody's a little different by nature. So what works for me as sound or movement is not necessarily going to be the right one for you. Some people need, let's look at it this way. Some people need to eat a lot of small meals. Some people really need more protein. Some people really would be better off to just go outside, skip breakfast, and eat sunshine, because they need to get moving and they don't need as much food as the others. That's, I think, one of the reasons why I left holistic healthcare, because so many people were either not ready, willing, and able to make changes. And that's when I realized, holy cow, it's all starting in the mind. I want to work on that with people. I want to help them develop a better relationship with the mind, which to me is ultimately going to create peace. Because when you start loving yourself and your relationship with all this energy and sound and body, mind, and spirit that you've got, then you're going to be a lot more kind to everybody else and all those things.
Got it. And so in terms of types of meditation, there are a number of them listed on the Mind Myself website if somebody
Oh,
wants to
yeah.
go and do research on that. So that's fabulous. Do you have a favorite kind of meditation for you, knowing that everyone's individual? Do you have a favorite kind?
I have a favorite kind to offer for free, which is guided meditation called Yoga Nidra. Remember, I was trained in hypnotherapy. So my Yoga Nidra might be a little bit different than other people's, and that's available at Meditate with Ambika. That's my podcast, totally free. Also, we have to remember these different styles are often launching points. There is only one state of meditation. So for me, sitting up straight, closing my eyes, focusing on my breath, using the power of my voice, that's how I teach people to cancel out mind chatter. But there are other things that I do, other techniques, because of my background, to help people let go of maybe some habitual things that are hanging them up. If you're really tired, if you're exhausted all the time, I suggest Yoga Nidra. Because you'll probably fall asleep and you need it, and it'll give you the nourishment of 4 hours of sleep in less than an hour. So that's what you should do. Set an alarm and practice that. That's what's in my insomnia course that I have called End Sleep Envy. There's proprietary guided meditations only for that course, because if you're exhausted, that's what you need. If you're a kinetic person or a sports person, then just start to notice that when you're doing your physical activity that you love, that you lose yourself. Try this. Try, instead of doing what you usually do right after, try lying down flat, closing your eyes and seeing where you go. It may feel like dreaming, but you might notice that the mind is fully awake and aware, peaceful and calm, and the body's fully at rest. So this is what yoga asana class is all about, if you're doing an hour of postures, but preferably you want at least 7 minutes on your back relaxing. You could also try, after you're dancing or whatever, sitting cross-legged, if it's comfortable to you, with your back up straight and closing your eyes and focusing on the breath coming in and out the front edges of your nostrils. This will take you to what would be that traditional posture of doing it. The whole idea is the spine. We know there's so much blood and lymph and energy in the immune system and the central nervous system feeding through your spine. So sitting up straight in good posture is always a good idea, right? And then if we look at chakras, it's because we want to give space so the energy can move in between and up the spine. This is definitely a good thing. It also roots us. And think about it. In countries where people sit on the floor squatting and cross-legged, they have about a 20% hip replacement rate. In countries where people are constantly sitting on furniture, they have about an 80+% hip replacement rate. One of my teachers used to say, if you don't ever want a hip replacement, get rid of your furniture.
Wow. I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet, but definitely working on opening our hips is such a good thing to do. I know I need to do more work on that too. So Ambika, as we come to a close in our conversation, what's one thing you might leave people with today?
Don't press yourself to try and do something in one single way. Experiment, find the doorway into meditation that feels attractive to you. Find a teacher if you're confused or you feel like you want some support, because everybody has this as a birthright. You get in a similar state when you're dreaming, but if you're still waking up with the same emotions and feelings, then you weren't really clearing it out while you were sleeping. I wish we could. So meditation is a recharge. It's a clear out for your body, mind, and spirit.
Thank you so much, Ambika. That was a wonderful inspiration. I actually feel like going and meditating or doing some yoga right now.
So that was very inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us at the Mind Myself podcast today. We know that time is precious and you've spent some of your valuable time with us. We're grateful. If you would like to reach out to our guest directly, the information is below. And if you would like more from Mind Myself, that information is also below. Please visit our website and check out all the information about the different complementary, holistic, and integrative healthcare approaches, information about health issues, more podcasts, tons of blogs, and we even have a community page for you where you could reach out and tell your story safely, or you could ask questions and perhaps somebody else in the world is going through something similar to you. In any case, we're so glad you're with us, and we're doing this because you matter.